You said you'd start on Monday. Monday became next week. Next week became next month. And now here you are, watching another video, instead of doing the thing you know you should be doing. But I'm not going to call you lazy, because you're not lazy. You're afraid. And there's a difference, a big one. Almost 2,000 years ago, the Roman philosopher Seneca wrote something that could have been aimed directly at you. He said, "People are not given a short life. They make it short. They squander it, not through evil, but through avoidance, through filling every quiet moment with noise, so they never have to sit with the one question that terrifies them. What if I try, and I'm still not enough? What if I give everything, and still fall short? What if the life I want demands more from me than I've ever been willing to give?" That is the real enemy, not laziness. Fear, wearing a laziness costume. Think about it. You don't procrastinate on things that don't matter. Nobody delays taking out the trash for 3 months. You procrastinate on the things that matter most. The business, the book, the conversation you need to have. Because if you never start, you can never fail. And your ego stays safe behind a wall of someday. Seneca watched wealthy Romans fill their days with banquets and gossip, their ancient version of scrolling and binging. And he asked them the same question I'm asking you now. How much of your life have you actually lived? Not existed, lived. Be honest with yourself right now. Type in the comments the one thing you have been avoiding, the one thing you keep pushing to next week. Say it out loud, because the moment you name it, it loses half its power over you. And what you can name, you can finally confront. There are 3 fears that keep men frozen. The first is the fear of failure. You see the cliff edge and imagine all the ways you could fall, so you never jump. The second is the fear of judgment. You picture the audience laughing before you've even walked on stage, so you stay backstage forever. The third is the worst, the fear of mediocrity. What if you give it everything you have and discover that everything isn't very much? What if the truth you fear is only a story you've repeated so often it started sounding like fate? But Epictetus, a man born into slavery, had the answer. He said, "It is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things." The failure didn't break you. The story you told yourself about the failure did. And Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, wrote to himself at night, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He wasn't being dramatic. He was being honest. Time is the one thing you cannot earn back. And every day you spend hiding from the work is a day that will never come again. The Stoics gave us a weapon for this. They called it Premeditatio, malorum, the premeditation of evils. Before you start anything, sit down and picture the worst that can happen. Feel the sting now, in your imagination. Then ask yourself, can I survive that? The answer is almost always yes. The thing you're afraid of is not the failure itself. It's the story you built about what failure would mean, and that story is fiction. So here is your assignment. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Pick the one thing you've been avoiding. Set a timer for 2 minutes and begin. 2 minutes, that's it. Because the hardest part of any journey is the first step. Everything after that is momentum. And momentum is the only thing that has ever defeated fear. You plant the seed today. Tomorrow you water it. The day after you water it again. And one morning you look down and something is growing. Not because you were brave, because you were consistent. Because you finally stopped waiting to feel ready. Because action, repeated long enough, becomes identity. Seneca said, "Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life." You were never lazy. You were just afraid to start. Now you know. The empire is built one day at a time. Start building.